This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you by Team Doyle Holsey Cross Country Mortgage. We're crazy good at what we do. Apply at crazygoodlender.com.
Hello and welcome to Dana Being Dana. I'm Dana Michelle and I'm thrilled you're with us. My show is about all different aspects of the human connection, things that bring us together and living life intentionally. Nothing connects us like our community, and what makes our community great are the incredible people in it. From the greater Chicagoland area to our local city of Naperville, it really is the people who keep this community thriving. Joining me today are some of the very best of Naperville. So welcome, thank you all so much for joining me. Briefly tell me how you came to Naperville and what is your current community involvement?
We moved to Naperville because it was one of the few places where you could actually work and live. And so my husband and I moved here, stayed a couple of years, moved to Texas and missed Naperville a lot, and we came back.
Nice.
And so now we've been here 10 years.
And what do you do in Naperville?
I founded a live storytelling show called The People Tree.
It's awesome. We love the People Tree. Mark?
Sure. And first of all, I just want to acknowledge you called me the best of something, and I've never been called the best of anything, so I appreciate that, Dana. So I moved here from Indianapolis about 25 years ago with my wife and two boys, and just found that Naperville was one of the places that reminded me a lot of home, and wanted to get really involved. And right now I'm serving as a commissioner on the board of police and fire.
And you're the reigning, what was that?
Well, the Dancing with the Celebrities champion.
All right.
I'm pretty humble about
All
it.
right.
Reach back.
You forgot your trophy.
I get the trophy.
But that's all right.
It's in the car.
Karyn?
Gosh, well, let me think now. I'd been in the Naperville area working for a long time, pretty much since 2007. And then I moved here in 2014 for love, got married and moved here. My husband actually had been here, Naperville resident since 1994. He's older than me. But I love it. And in terms of involvement, I'm a member of the Naperville After Dark Rotary Club, Naperville Junior Women's Club. I serve on the board at Martin Avenue Apartments. And I am one of the Naperville Liquor Commissioners.
Awesome. Thank you. Katie?
So I've been here since 2004 in Naperville. My husband was originally from Plainfield. We lived in the city of Chicago and needed quick access there, so we moved to the downtown area. We love it, raising our family here, and it's just been a really perfect fit for us. And my community involvement, what I'm most passionate about is Giftmart for District 203 and District 204.
Awesome. Matt?
All right. Well, 17 years ago, I came here after getting a lot of parking tickets in the city with some friends. So I came out here, not nearly as many parking tickets, but I've experienced Naperville on a number of different levels. So as a younger person, going out, exploring, and then settling down, getting married, having kids, and then being more and more involved in the community. So, I just, it's nice to be able to be involved with a number of things. I'm on the Martin Avenue Apartment Board with Karyn, and then I'm all kind of boots on the ground for 12 or 13 other local nonprofits. And one of the things we do is I wear a Santa suit.
I think you look familiar.
Oh, don't get that out to everybody. Hope we're not recording right now.
So dressed as Santa,
Dressed as Santa.
you go out
Over 350 miles of routes, so we're ready to go.
in the Naperville area. That's awesome.
And that'll be for 12 nonprofits too. So we'll be raising some money, and Karyn's actually gonna be one of our drivers. So she's pulling the sleigh.
John?
I was born and raised in Naperville, so 1981 was graced Naperville with my presence there. And then community involvement. I've been involved with the neighbor settlement for the last almost 10 years. And then we also have a family scholarship at Naperville North, the Rob Koranda Scholarship. I had the pleasure of judging a few of the people sitting here and then Dancing with the Stars through Career Networking Center.
Great judge,
then,
by the way.
Thank you. The winners always say that. And then also recently the Naperville Response for Veterans Board, and then a liquor commissioner as well, which usually get a good reaction when I let people know.
That's right. You're still gracing Naperville with your presence. Thank you. So what is it about Naperville that makes our community so great?
I'll start there. When we moved here, as I said, and we were just talking about this earlier, the area that I grew up in Carmel, Indiana, it just reminded us so much of where we came from and the community as a whole. The one thing that I loved about Naperville is when we moved here, it didn't feel like we were outsiders. When we moved here, it was an instant connection with all the families. We made friends instantly. Everybody was so inviting and warm. It felt like a place to call home. And honestly, I didn't think that I would be here very long, maybe 10 years. But once we moved here, it captured us, and I knew there was nowhere else I wanted to live. So
You've been here for 25 years.
25 years.
25 years. What else makes our community so great? Why are you all so involved?
One of the things I like about Naperville, like a lot of everybody here, we have a common denominator. I think everybody here is a doer, and is a person of massive action. My wife gave me a shirt that says "Nobody gets to 80% quicker." So it's great because I think the tide lifts all, and steel sharpens steel. I say that a lot, and it's just great because I think there's almost 300 nonprofits in Naperville, and I think that's for a reason because you have a lot of high-quality people who are focused and driven towards a bigger picture and to benefit a lot more people. So you have every flavor that you're looking for, whether or not it's helping out youth to helping out homeless. There's something that fits for everybody, and everybody's pulling in the right direction. And again, massive action gets things done. So I have a saying in my office: it's not ready, aim, fire. It's ready, fire, and then recalibrate. So a lot of people just don't wait for a perfect time. You just get it done, and then you tweak along the way.
Yeah. You figure it out as you go along.
I used to think of community as a collection of houses, of homes, and I think of it now, after living in Naperville, as a collection of people coming together. And I think the people of Naperville, what I've learned is there's a tremendous amount of curiosity and empathy, and when you have those two together, I think it's just incredibly powerful. And we have that a lot.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think it's even a step further. It's like when you try and define community, I think most people do think of, oh, it's a town or it's a city, but it's much more about the collective action that happens when the residents of the town or the city get together. And I just see time and time and time again, when called upon, I think the people of Naperville do just come together, pull together, and do what is needed for whatever is needed.
I agree. I think when the downtown was vandalized in the summer of 2020, when there was a recent tornado where a couple of homes were completely destroyed, seeing how the community came together.
Instantly.
Yeah,
Instantly.
right away.
Yep.
What else do you think we're great at as a community?
I just think there's this deep level of generosity when it comes to time, talent, and resources here. I mean, there's just this willingness to share to make things better, to your point. Like, there's this motivation when you see other people out doing things, and I don't think you could walk into a room and find someone who's not somehow involved in our community, just like everyone sitting here. And I think that energizes all of us to take the next step and, well, let me help you out, or that's so interesting what you're doing. Like, I can support that as well, not just focused on one activity, one nonprofit in the community, but the generosity really, if I have the time, the talent, or the resources, I'll help whichever one's in need at the time.
I think that's true. You all do so many great things, and you all are friends of mine, and I could sit here all day talking about how amazing you are. But tell me why you do what you do and why you get so involved.
I think it's just having the ability to do something. Right? It's kind of like a responsibility if you have that, and it's not, going back to kind of what most people were saying before about how giving and the action of the people in the town, like it's not short on volunteer coaches, right? It's not short. You go to any event, there's galas every weekend, and it's all different things that people are supporting.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to that simply of the willingness to give back, and I think it is a social responsibility to do so. Whether that's time, whether it's financial, whether it's an expertise, whether it's helping set up an event. I mean, there's so many different ways to be involved. So, in my mind, you really don't have an excuse not to dive in. But yeah,
He's got a good point. I feel like Sign Up Genius was probably invented in Naperville.
Sign up.
But yeah, it's just, got a lot of people who are just doers. Again, it's saying people just want to be involved, and then just, so no shortage of extroverts
Yeah.
in Naperville either, and I think that helps.
I think it's amazing that there's something for any skill level or any kind of ability. So whether it's packing lunches or dancing, I mean, there's something for everyone that you can be doing, no matter what your skill set is or isn't.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. There's a sense of a need to give back, right? And I think it's contagious. When we first moved here, I originally got involved because I wanted to have a resource for my children and my family. I wanted to make friends, but very shortly realized that everybody that I was dealing with was super involved in different aspects of Naperville. We started out doing the Exchange Club, and I chaired the Rib Fest in 2012. Then I'm on the board of the Naperville Development Partnership, so the business community. It's a collection of business, individuals, schools, youth, all coming together for a common cause, and that's what I think makes Naperville so special.
For me, I don't have any children, so I felt, many years ago when I realized I wasn't going to have children, I thought, there's got to be more to, who you are defined as, as a professional. And I love my job at Power Forward, DuPage, but when I'm done working, I felt like I needed to still be doing something that mattered. And as I started to do more volunteer work, I realized for me, that's my legacy. That's what I'm meant to do that will live on when I'm gone, since there won't be any little Karyns running around. But
Does anyone get paid for the work that they do?
We pay a lot.
You said what?
I pay a lot.
I pay too.
Yeah, yeah.
I get paid in
great.
pride.
that's, yeah.
You get paid in trophies and
The trophy in pride.
Definitely get more
bragging
out of it,
rights.
too.
But there's a reward. There's a tremendous reward. I would say that, that when you are blessed to, enter someone's life 9 times out of 10 at their most vulnerable, that they need help, you walk away, far richer for having that experience. So there's a great reward in it for me.
I think everyone has probably that trigger moment, right? The first time you saw that you can have a really positive effect, or the first time you really got involved and you got that feedback. And I don't know if that was kind of the initial the discussion was, but the first time, and I was 22 and it was out of tragedy, the family loss. So you come together, you can kind of go about things a few different ways. And for us, we wanted to rally and do something good in honor of that person, but also, you can help out a lot of other people in doing so. So we've had, scholarship in my brother's name for be 20 years this year. And then it started to see the community react to that. Then you see Neighbor Settlement. Everyone on that board is involved with so many other organizations. That's more of a community one. So it's kind of fun too, because of all the different options. You can be a part of multiple organizations that give you different feelings that fit into your personality and your expertise, so you can really have that kind of maximum effect.
And I think it just grows in our community. Like once you start,
Yeah.
that involvement continues to grow. They say to whom much is given, much is required or expected. So we're going to continue to talk about giving. We're going to talk about involvement when we come back. We'll take a quick break. Don't go away.
Stay in the know at home or on the go with NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
Welcome back to Dana Being Dana. We are talking all about community and getting involved. What advice do you all have for someone who wants to get more involved in our Naperville community?
I the first thing someone could do, my path, my starting spot in Naperville, as I was transitioning into a young professional and getting a little bit older, losing a little bit more hair, was getting involved with the Chamber of Commerce. Met a lot of like-minded people. Birds of a feather flock together. I got a lot of sayings, and that's one of them, is that you just meet a lot of people who are moving in the right direction that you are, and that was kind of a launch pad for me, and then it just, more opportunities open up as a result of that.
I went a completely unstructured route. I had 3 young kids at the time, so the best I could do was invite people into my home and start from my own house. And so we started storytelling in my living room, inviting 10 people and going from there, because it isn't always easy to go out there and join a board and go to night meetings and do all of that. So you can do that here.
So the People Tree started in your home.
It started in my living room.
Wow.
I invited 10 women into my living room and gave them a prompt, and we had the most amazing stories that night. I still think of this. People, if you give someone a chance to have the 3 minutes to speak, they will tell you their stories.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You brought that in, which is great. It's a great way to get started, which means it can be done by anybody.
Exactly.
I think to John's point earlier, there's a lot of opportunity in Naperville. Every weekend there's an event happening, and so you can just start small. Just volunteer that one day for the event. You don't have to start as the one who plans it. I started as a volunteer for Giftmart 13 years ago. 2 years after that, we brought it to 204, and 4 years ago, we brought it to 203. But it started small. It was one day, and it lit your passion on fire, and you were like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. And it might not be the first place you try, but it will be helpful to those who have planned it if you're there and you show up that day and you're the hands and feet.
I think it's great to participate and get involved in things and then have it be personally rewarding for you. Have you had experiences like that, like with Giftmart, for example, giving toys, bringing toys, coming to the events, meeting so many other people who are like-minded? So have any of you had that experience where you are serving and you walk away feeling rewarded as well, besides a trophy?
All the time, all the time. You know, there's so many different service projects I could, you know, talk about. We'd be here all day, but you know, some of the work at Martin Avenue, for example, you know, Naperville Juniors had a partnership with them for 40 plus years, and one of the things that we do is we serve Thanksgiving dinner to the seniors. And, you know, as we would get girls together to go do our annual, you know, service project, we keep calling it this thing, when you get there and you realize this is their Thanksgiving meal, it takes on a whole new meaning, and how grateful they are, and just realizing that, you know, no matter what circumstances anybody is in, when you're touching another person's life like that, there's no substitute, you know? There's just no substitute, so. Whether it's turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberries, whatever it is.
How do we better support one another in our community? What are some of the things that we can do to show up better for one another?
You know, that's a good question. Because I feel like Naperville does it really well already. I'm sure there's a way that we could get more people involved, and you know, I guess I'm speaking to younger people when I say this. It is intimidating, but you just have to do it. Find a passion. There's so many organizations out there that you can get involved in. Just go and try it out and try it on and see how it feels. But Naperville does a great job already. You know, I know of these people because they're always in the community. There's 100 others that I could name here today that I see all the time.
Absolutely.
It really is mind-boggling to me how giving the people of Naperville are. So I don't know that there is anything that we can do better other than people just jumping out and getting involved.
Yeah. I always marvel at the fact how when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody. And I think I'm always trying to connect with people who I don't know, because I feel fortunate to be at a point where when I do go places, I see a lot of people, especially Trader Joe's. And so I want to, you know, be that person that is welcoming to somebody who may not know anybody. People who are new to the area. Like you said, I think the word intimidating is important, because I think there's a lot of great things, and it could be overwhelming to somebody who's not used to such a community. You know, it's almost like a musical sometimes, like welcome to Naperville. And so, if you could change one thing or improve upon one thing in our community, what would it be? Besides Koranda for mayor, it's coming.
No public office.
Cat's out of the bag.
Oops, sorry, spoiler.
I think, you know, to get the word out that is who we are as a community.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, you know, there's bad rap that, you know, we're not this open and giving and community minded, and you know, in reality, yes, we are. And I think you have to live it to experience it to know it. And I think somehow tell that story better, all of the good things that are happening here.
I think that's a great point.
I think we have an opportunity right now. I was talking to a woman earlier today who moved a year and a half ago, right in the middle of COVID, and she's having a tough time. And she said there's a whole group of people that are relatively new, but it's hard to meet people because everyone's at home or they're just seeing with their close circle of friends. So this is an opportunity for us to welcome the newer folks who don't know us, help them experience what we're all about. So this is an opportunity that we have, I think.
I think that's another great point. What else can we improve on?
You know, I'd love to see more people showing up to different things, because we
Yeah.
do see some of the same people over and over again, and there's so many different things to do. I think we could get more people involved, more people just showing up.
Yeah, you know, the one thing I think that, and this isn't a Naperville thing, this is a United States thing in my opinion, but I remember growing up, you knew everybody in your neighborhood. You talked to everybody in your neighborhood. You knew everyone's children. If I saw someone's child doing something bad, I could call you up and say, Dana, your son's downtown acting up.
Exactly.
You better go get him. I think we need to do that a little bit more. You know, I live in a great neighborhood that, you know, we're very close and everybody knows everybody. But I don't think all neighborhoods are like that. And I'd like to see people get out and just communicate a little bit more.
Be more neighborly.
Be more neighborly.
I remember seeing that during COVID, those first couple of weeks when it started to get warm, people were coming outside and people were just walking around the neighborhood because that was all that they could do. And it would still be kind of distant, like COVID was relatively new to us, but seeing neighbors out, walking out and about and communicating with each other and talking, getting to know your neighbors, I think is something that we could definitely do more of for sure. And gratitude, I think, is so important, particularly in a time of so much loss and reflection and appreciation for what you do have. So what is one thing that you are grateful for this year?
And I am thankful for our healthcare system, from the scientists to the nurses, because I look back at pictures from this exact time last year, and my kids were home with me, and now they're not. It's fantastic for so many reasons. No, I mean, just like, you know, it was like midday, my daughter's still in her pajamas, but going to class on a computer, and I just think how far we've come. It was not something any of us expected. It was life-changing for the world, but we've really come a long way, and that gives us all the opportunity to then go out in the community once again, be boots on the ground and serve, where that really had to get reeled back in for a time there. So I'm really grateful where we're at.
I think those medical people too are still working hard and fighting that good fight. I know a lot of medical professionals out there, and they're tired. Because they're still working hard. So I think that's a great one.
What else? If I could lump something else into that, I mean, just our first responders. And again, I'm on the board of police and fire, but over the past 2 years, I mean, they have gone through a lot, from the civil unrest to COVID. It's just been an unbelievable 2 years for them. So I'm grateful for a lot of things, but I'm really, really grateful for our first responders.
I think a lot of people don't understand, especially what had happened last year, the coordination that happened between so many nonprofits, as well as the municipality, as well as the other. I mean, there's so many different institutions, the hospital, even everyone's working together to try to, still be able to give back and still carry out their missions. And I think overall, people did a very good job. Thankful for all the people that kept supporting them. I think financially it was a big concern, but I think overall a lot of nonprofits saw their still fundraising still be roughly the same on the revenue side. So I think there's that ties back to the whole community. But there's a lot of people behind the scenes that were ensuring that things were still going. Right?
Also the city, I think.
Yeah, the city, yeah.
Naperville is comprised of many, many small businesses. And I think the city worked extra hard to disseminate the information that would help to keep small businesses afloat, grant programs, support systems, and things like that. And the city itself was able to maintain, within their budget and have surplus, left over. So I think we did a lot to keep our city intact as best we could, which is really good. Gratitude.
In a way, I feel like coming through the pandemic, when you think about gratitude and what it means for your personal family, it really forced everybody to pause. Not just a certain segment, not just a certain, group of folks. Everybody had to take stock and pause their lives. And, we were such on a treadmill of got to get to this, got to do this, got to do this, check the list, check the list. Whether you're a kid, whether you're a parent, whether you're just working, whatever, everybody was on that same pace, and it really made everybody kind of hit the pause button. And I feel like for a lot of folks, it was a return to what matters.
Yeah.
And it was family, and it was, I loved seeing families doing game night and talking and putting the phones down and even just watching programs together. And for me, I thought, wow, we do have a chance. As a human race, we're going to remember what we're actually here for and, why we're what to do. And so
it was like the old school kind of way of like kids are outside again playing.
Exactly.
Like come home and the lights go on type of atmosphere that I think
Exactly.
haven't really seen in the neighborhoods
Versus Fortnite.
in a long time. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Adults too, yeah.
Yeah, there were some positive things that came of that, and not to reflect and look too much in the rearview mirror, but I think everybody here, and Dana, you probably, now the mission is, all right, that's behind us, operation, let's move the needle, and let's get the new, and where are we heading, let's chart our course, and let's just get to work and do what we do best, and rinse and repeat.
Absolutely. It's another saying, right?
Oh, I got them all.
I kind of like the pause for a while though. I felt like getting back into it was a little bit overwhelming, and you're kind of then it's like fighting back to that balance.
that's right.
So I think it did reset a lot of things.
Exactly.
Especially more time with like family. Even if you work from home, it still allowed you to be, even if it's 10 minutes stepping away here or there, you're definitely more interactive, with your kids and different things. And at times it's stressful, and you're glad they're back. I agree with that. So I found that adjustment as soon as we started going back in the office, as soon as these different events kept happening. It's like, how do you find that balance? And that's constant, I guess.
And you found the beard too, right?
Yes. COVID.
Or did the beard find you, or did you find the beard?
COVID beard.
What I kept thinking about was just over the last year and a half, how resourceful and creative everyone's been. Because we've had to come up with new ways to keep doing business or keep giving to the community. But you had to be creative and resourceful, and I feel like that's been a gift for us to use our brains in a whole new different way. It's wonderful.
Which is good.
Great point.
You can have a fortunate life filled with fancy things. You can also have a fortunate life filled with meaningful experiences. In a time of so much uncertainty and loss, showing up and spreading love are more important than ever. There is richness and character in modeling this by example, and that is when a community really shines. Special thanks to Team Doyle Halsey of Cross Country Mortgage. Hopefully you have been entertained, if not encouraged or inspired. I do not promise to be an expert, nor do I have all the answers. I'm just Dana, being Dana. See you next time.
This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you by Team Doyle Halsey Cross Country Mortgage. We're crazy good at what we do. Apply at crazygoodlender.com.